Today we are diving into a big one. Niger and Mali decided to stop paying colonial tax to France. It's a bold move. Stick around as we break down and figure out why this decision was made. Let's get into the video. Mali and Niger had an arrangement with France in 1972 and 1965 respectively, called the Double Tax Treaty. Now, this arrangement was to prevent Malians and Nigerians living in France from paying taxes in the two countries and vice versa. So in a nutshell, what this means is, as a Malian citizen that's living in France, as long as you're paying your tax in France, you're not going to be taxed again in Mali or in Niger. And the same rule applies to a Nigerian citizen that is living in Mali or a French citizen that is living in any of these countries. So that makes sense, correct? It's fair enough for everybody. Well, hold that thought. While this sounds very pleasing to the eye, according to what is being shown to us on national TV and what we see in the media, but what they don't show us is in this same treaty, the former French colonies are being forced to pay colonial taxes to France. I mean, countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, Benin Republic, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and some other African countries, they are all compelled to cough out a whopping $500 billion annually. And on top of that, a portion of the colony's budget continues to flow to the French central bank under various names and categories. This process allows France to appropriate about 85% of the former colony's annual income. As a result, African countries face financial difficulties and have to borrow back their own money from the French central bank as debts. To reclaim their fund, African countries are limited to apply for no more than 20% of the transferred amount. If they seek a larger sum, it can be vetoed. France argues that this is the money it spent on buildings and infrastructure constructed more than a century ago. I mean, is this not ridiculous? Money spent on infrastructure and construction more than a century ago. What? I mean, let's even put that aside for one. Let's put that one aside. Imagine you have to give out 85% of your annual income on a yearly basis, and you can only borrow 20% of that money. How are you not going to be financially bankrupt? Tell me. How are you not going to have financial difficulties? And yet some people ask the question of why do all these Western nations have immigration crisis? Of course they're going to have immigration crisis. What do you think is going to happen? Duh. What do you think is going to happen? As humans, we are designed to survive. And if you make life unbearable for people at home, they're going to find a means to survive somewhere else. It could be abroad. They're going to find a means to survive. It is what it is. And of course, I know some of you are asking the question like, so why did these African leaders agree to this treaty if it doesn't benefit them? Well, I hope none of you have to go through oppression. Because if you truly know what oppression means, then you will understand that life itself is not black and white. Because the oppressed, when they get to a certain level, will do anything possible to free himself or herself from the shackles of the oppressor. Just look at Palestine and Israel, for example. Not just that, so many African leaders tried to change something. But as we all know, like I said in my last video, I'm going to put the link up here if you guys want to go and watch it. Most of those leaders were either silenced or
claims the money it takes from its former colonies is for cash spent on buildings and infrastructure built more than a century ago, and any refusal by an African leader to pay the colonial tax almost always results in a coup.
So now that we understand what this treaty is all about, what did Niger and Mali do? Well, Mali and Niger revoked tax cooperation treaties with France. And why did they decide to take this decision? Well, look at this article. Military governments in Niger and Mali have together announced they will revoke tax treaties with France, cites France's persistent hostile attitude and the unbalanced nature of these conventions, which constitute a considerable loss of revenue for Mali and Niger. So by cutting ties with their former colonies, Niger was able to increase uranium price from 8 cents to 200 euros per kilo. Now they are able to sell their uranium on the normal market price. To add to that, The new administration in Niger has increased the price of the uranium it exports. Niger provides 25% of the uranium consumed by Europe. The West African state has taken the bold step of increasing its uranium price from 80 cents per kilo to 200 euros per kilo. And by breaking free from the shackles of its former colonial masters, Niger was able to catapult itself into one of the fastest growing 10 economies in the world. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Niger and Mali had made a statement by distancing themselves from their former colonial masters. And this has also set the precedent for so many other African nations. For example, Rwanda and Kenya have declared their country visa-free for all Africans. Nigeria just built the world's largest oil refinery. Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso have signed a security pact to protect each other from external invasion. So this must also send the same message to other African nations to understand that we don't need foreign aid from these people to change the course of our history, because we have everything at our disposal to be the richest continent on the planet. We just have to look inwardly and start making trades or deals that's going to benefit our people. This is the video for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video again. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Follow me on all my socials. Like I upload videos like this every weekend, so don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.